Hey up.
What is up? How are we? Pomp, what's going on?
No bad, mate. Hey, do we dare say it's getting a bit boring just doing these ratings and reviews after a win all the time?
Nah. Nah, absolutely not. Have you come down yet?
You know what? It's a weird thing. I was actually speaking to Dog about it this afternoon. We had a phone call, and I said to him, our skill set is genuinely trying to fix it.
Yeah.
How weird is it when you don't have to fix anything? It's I feel almost useless. I'm just here enjoying it.
Well, it's good to be a fan. It's good to just be a fan. It is. We have a big night ahead of us. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to the round 20 player ratings after a great win against the Pies in round 20. For those who are new to the player ratings, I feel like we might get some new people in tonight that haven't watched the player ratings before. But what we have done is we go through every player who played in the game. We compare their output for the game against every player in the competition in their position. And we do that via an algorithm. And the algorithm will spit out a score between 0 and 10. You will have the chance to guess, and that's where the fun comes. And we're going to get into it because I feel like we're going to be muffling a lot tonight, mumbling and talking a lot tonight. We've got to get done within the hour.
Pom, how good that's easy, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay. We'll start with, so we'll do it as the team was named. Also, yes, there is a donation link in the chat. This is for those who just want to donate a little extra. I get some people asking about it. If that's you, great. If not, just watch, and that is all you need to do. Firstly, Brody Kemp. Let's talk about Brody Kemp. Growing in confidence, the young man.
Let's talk about Kemp, baby. There's a chant there, just been made up straight on the spot.
That's very good.
I'll work on that for next weekend. But yeah, the Brody Kemp, he's a man that probably wasn't in most people's 22 at the start of the year, and this guy's taking his opportunity. And tell you what, it's hard to see a team without Brody Kemp. I mean, he's playing that central position, centre half back mainly now. Lewis Young is kicking up daisies in the reses, and he looks solid, doesn't he? He looks like an AFL player. That's the wonderful thing about him. He looks assured. He looks calm. A guy that's gone from strength to strength with AFL time, and it's great to see, isn't it? Really, because we put a lot of invested a lot of time into him. Great to see him now.
No doubt. Kempy. Kemp took 8 marks.
He did.
I'm going to say 6.5 or 7. Yeah, very good. Well done, Kempy. Well done, young man. Jacob Weitering. I felt it in my bones before the game that he would play well, and play well he did. I feel like he's going to score well because his opponent didn't kick a goal, my check. He took, I think it was 10 marks, 7 of them intercept marks or something like that. Maybe
11 marks, yeah.
11 marks.
He did what he wanted.
So let's, just for those playing along at home, what do we look at with Weitering in his position? What are the metrics?
Well, basically, you're looking at defending, and then there's the small element of attacking from him. And that is something that has been massively increased with Mr. Jacob this year. I mean, 11 marks, 6 intercept marks. We're talking ridiculous levels. 100% one-on-one ratio, never lost. 6 spoils. Pretty much everything Weitering did turned to lightning. He was in another level. At the end of the day, we've got to start having this conversation that probably the best defender in the league. Best defender in the league. And you saw the difference, Charlie versus Darcy. You saw at the other end, it's very easy to lose. It's very hard to stay one-on-one all the time. And Darcy towed Curnow up for a quarter. You've got to remember that. It's very hard not to give frees. That's the big thing. Very hard to give frees away in this league. And again, Jacob, one-on-one, dominant, not conceding frees. That's very hard to do.
I feel like this has got like a 9.5 written all over it. Yeah, mate, that's massive. So he was effectively one of the top 3 defenders in the league this round.
Hard to get past Jacob Weitering this week. He was the highest, I can say this week, he was the highest ranked footballer as a defender, as a key defender in the league this week. There was no one that came near Jacob Weitering. So it's going to keep happening. You could make an argument for, some people would say, oh, Harrison Petty was ranked quite high, but he played forward this week. But over the last 6 weeks of the year, him and Sam Taylor are head and shoulders above everyone in the league, like TPI and the AFL player ratings. There is no one that's come close to them. You're talking like with AFL ratings, it's about 6.5 difference between Taylor and Weitering and the rest. Like, if the All-Australian is done correctly, Weitering and Taylor are your key defenders.
Okay. Very well done.
It won't be. They'll put Darcy Moore in for Bants, but...
Yeah. Nick Newman is next. I really wanted to give him some love in the Instagram stakes for the player of the game or doing a bit, and I just couldn't. But I feel like he was one of our best players on the night. Excellent.
Well, for those who follow me on Twitter, they will have seen me ask the AFL today when they did their team of the week, did Nick Newman and Jack Martin play LIV golf? Because they were selected.
What was that about?
And it's classic AFL. Nick Newman's always going to be fighting against players like Saad, who look aesthetically pleasing. But what is huge is, we talked about him last week. We brought the stats that this guy is our best performer since the turnaround, and again backed it up. Leading player on the ground for Carlton in score launches. That's huge. That's usually the job. We're looking at other players. Tied 3rd for score involvements from halfback. Insane. One-on-one ground, not beaten at all. So let that sink in. He played on Nick Newman for 2.5. I mean, Jamie Elliott for 2.5 quarters by the GPS data. That's insane. Like, Jamie Elliott's bread and butter is that. He never lost to Jamie Elliott in the game. But then also look at the incidentals he did, the little possessions, how he holds himself. You're talking, this guy had an unbelievable game. And at the moment, I would say, unbiased, pound for pound, the best non-key defender in the league over the last 6 weeks. He would get into every side in the AFL the way he's playing at the moment.
7 tackles as well.
Guy's an animal.
I feel like there'll be a 9 next to his name. Yeah, that's huge.
Mickey! He's fast. Honestly, he's starting to become my favourite player. Like, obviously, you'll never surpass Charlie, but he's starting to get in them conversations.
We love it. We love a job doer, and he's a job doer, and then some.
Mr. Doing a bit.
Mr. Doing it. He is Mr. Doing a bit. McGovern. It's just McGovern from now on. He is the McGovern.
The Mitch dog. He's really enjoying this, and I'm really enjoying what Carlton are doing. No one's talked about it enough for mine. But what they're working with McGovern and Kemp, they've really recreated what everyone raved about prime Richmond, with Rance and Grimes swinging and taking it in turns to be the intercept. Again, this is what Mitch McGovern and Kemp are doing. They take it in turns. You can see in game, Vossi's going, right, let's give McGovern the job. See if Kemp can do it. And when that doesn't work, they switch it around. And this week, we saw all 3 big fellas with Marchbank do it. McGovern is just such an assurity down the back now. He's really starting to embrace the role. And if you would have said at the start of the year, we're going to have a medium-sized backline with Weitering, you would have probably laughed. But it's working well. And Mitch McGovern is starting to look like a senior player down there as well. Real cool head. So what another great performance from Mitch McGovern in a very tough backline.
Yep. He is giving us some consistency in his performance, which we love to see. He scored an 8. Wow, these are big scores to start off, mate. Very big scores.
Toughest forward line to play as well, incidentally. They've got the deepest entry in the league, which is hard.
Pies.
And and the fact that our 3 tall so far have scored so well says how hard these guys worked. Because that's tough yakka.
Yeah. A really good story, a feel-good story. Another one to add to the list of players who have come back from injury is Caleb Marchbank. He's next. I felt like he finds a way. He did it last year as well after missing so much football. Yeah, he had a few moments where you can tell he just hadn't been in the game for a while. But the idea of him playing 6 games in a row, for example, is very exciting. Like for him to play the way he did on Friday with such limited game time for the season, knowing everyone else has had a full season to play, I was pretty impressed, and I think he'll only be better for it.
Yeah, there was a few loose moments at the start, and I'm sure if Caleb was here, he'd say, yeah, fair enough. But you look at some of the mistakes he made, they were under incredible pressure, which isn't the type of game Caleb probably wants. A shit first game back, to be honest, against this side. You would have rather had last week where he could have eased his way into it. Do you know what I mean? But towards the end of the game, as he started to really find his feet, decent marks, he was attacking the ball well, peeling off his man. You started to see that confidence. So it'll be better for the Cobwebs. And this time next week, I'm sure he'll be in the high 8s because you could see he was threatening to have that game that we know he was once he started to get a bit of confidence in his body. I think that first contact he touched in the second, he had a real big bump. I think that gave him so much confidence. Reminded me of the Charlie versus St Kilda game when Charlie got absolutely cleaned up. It was like the confidence came. He was like, okay, my body can handle this.
Yeah, that's the most important part. So Caleb got a 6.5. Oh, slay the day. In honor of the besties.
I had to give the besties a shout out here. It is their boy. So there you are. I'm sure Caleb will appreciate he gets his own special for his return.
Marchbank, sponsored by the besties. I feel like we should have this forever for Caleb Marchbank. We'll just let them own that. That's really cool. Oh, that's funny. Adam Saad. Adam Saad. I didn't pick up on the footage until I watched the replay the second time of Adam Saad celebrating after the siren. I don't think I've ever seen him show that type of emotion before.
You know what? Say what you want about Saad, but I'll tell you what, that guy is Carlton through and through. Fourth most meters gained on the field. We're starting to see a different side of Saad, but it's still there and no one's talking about it. That ability to transition out the back. But his defensive work is incredible as well. And it's still not talked about in the AFL. Everyone just knows him as a bouncer, a guy who does running bounces. His defensive work is incredible. And his ability to back his team up. And you can see Saad loves this club. And it's great to see because you heard the rumours at Essendon he felt on the outer. You can see that the boys have taken to him, and you can see he's taken to us. And you know what? You've got a soft spot for Saadi, haven't you? No one hates Saadi.
No. Saadi. Let's have a look. What do we got? 7.5. Very, very good. Blake Acres.
I
feel like he started very, very well, and then just maybe slowed down a little bit, but overall, I thought he was pretty consistent.
Second most score involvements on the ground, barring Charlie Curnow. You've always got to take that into it, and that's pretty much his bread and butter. He's meant to be doing that transitional threat, but how hard this guy works defensively and forward, and you can see why Nick Austin puts a lot of faith in these wingers, because him and Hollands run abnormal yardage, and you can see why Hollands is in every side and why Akers is in every side. This is a big thing. Disposal sometimes can be a bit questionable, but you're also looking at this guy's having to run the length of the field there and back all the time. No one else has to do that. So real solid game, and definitely you can see his importance of reading them intercepts. He gets a lot of cheap intercept possessions against a side that are masters on the width. So, again, he came to the fore and picked Josh Dykes' pocket a couple of times this week, which is hard to do because Josh D is regarded as the best wingman in the league.
I think one of my favorite things about Blake is the fact that we now have a winger who is strong, like he's seasoned. You know, he's a pretty big guy for a winger. And I think, you know, last year we had, you know, Lockie O'Brien playing, who he's just not as strong as Blake right now at this point in his career. But Blake brings both a good winger's attributes, and he's strong, and he can tackle, and he can withstand a tackle. So I like what he does. All about the Blake train. Blake the Snake, 7.5. Cripper, the skipper. You and I spoke today. I'll take 20 possessions, 10 tackles, 10 contested possessions, and Cripps leading like that over the Brisbane game in 2019. We've been saying it for the last few weeks now, haven't we? He's really found himself.
They cry. Everyone cries in chat. Oh, 2019 Cripper. That's the fucking Cripps I'm on about, baby. You know, just telling Maynard to get fucked. Oh. That's the Cripps I need in my life. That's the lead. He's the fucker who's lifting the flag. He's lifting that little trophy. That's the Cripps.
Yeah.
Get the statue.
He's going up before our eyes. That little moment there where he grabs Maynard and just says, "Oi, get out of here."
And he shites it as well. You see Maynard, big and hard against Jesse Motlop. As soon as Cripps comes, shits it, drops his dacks.
Yeah.
Cripper, my captain, our captain. That's the Cripps I need to see. Again, elite clearances, elite pressure acts, elite in everything he does. And that's the Cripps that opens up the game for everyone. And how sexy was that fourth quarter where the entire Collingwood midfield tried to tackle him, and he was almost taking the piss. He was like, "I'll take you on. You can fuck off. You can fuck off." Oh, that's the Cripps I need.
He was brilliant. He was. Let's have a look and see how he scored. 8.5. Very good. That is a very good score. Your boy, Ollie Hollands. Mate, 3 or 4 more preseasons, 3 or 4 more kilos, and you add that to what he's already got right now, which is just a will to compete, and he's got it. Once the body matches what he's got here and here, he's got some special traits, young Ollie. It's good to watch, especially in a big game like that.
Tell you what, the amount of abuse Hollands got during that first half all over socials blags my head. In the first half, blags my head. It's like a clear... If you've ever slated a Hollands, you have a lack of understanding of what modern-day AFL is, and you need to put your opinion in the bin and let the adults talk, because this guy is integral to the system, and it's no surprise Carlton's numbers against the best side, inverted commas, in the comp were totally different. We're totally different when you've got 2 pure wingers in there because of how hard he works and his backup work. And I tell you what, this time last week, I said someone had to take out the plastic fake guy, Maynard, and I'll buy them a round of beers. Ollie Hollands, slide into my DMs, sir, because did I expect it to be Ollie? It was Ollie. He took him out. Yeah. And I got up and about. That was my second only to probably Charlie's goals. That was my favourite moment. Ollie, payback. I loved it.
He knew. He knew. He knew. He heard. He watched.
I loved him.
He listened. He knew. No doubt about it. Yeah. That was...
The best is Maynard's face as well. Like, he's shocked. And it's the way Ollie put his weight into him to lift himself up as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was like just the double piss take of, yeah, man, I've got you, bro. I've got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Ollie, where's he at? 6.5. Very good.
Just quietly, how good was that as well? Third quarter, he gets the spoil. He spoils it, and beautiful fist to Newman. And then he's the guy at the end for that kick to Martin. Yes. Not many players at all. When people say Dow can play over him, Dow would die doing that run because Dow isn't an intuitive runner. Hollands is. That is incredible. Hollands as well versus O'Brien. You look at the amount of sprints Hollands has, and that's a real important factor. Being able to run, any idiot can do it. Being able to have sprints as well as long-term running, insane, incredibly difficult. Hollands, special kid. Love him.
I really like the footage that the club have started to show of that hard running that doesn't get shown, like from the behind the goals footage. Big fan of that. They highlighted one of his runs, and Jack Martin, who we'll touch on with great excitement. But next up is Lockie Fogarty. He played a bit of a different role, didn't he? Yeah, he's my new boy. I think I'm going to lock him away. Might need to get a little bobblehead, Lockie Fogarty.
The Fog Dog. Something about Fogarty. You know what I did love? And if you watch the replay, because I'm sure Carlton fans have got time to watch the replay after tonight, watch every little scuffle and just see which dickhead pops their head up every time. There's one in the back pocket, and he actually has ran about 50 metres to even get involved. And that is them little things, we always talk about the togetherness. You can see Fog is keen to protect his boys. He takes it serious. And again, strong in the contest, strong pressure acts. Voss opened the door to midfield time for him and Cunners with exceptionally higher midfield time than we've seen. And this guy's just a grafter, isn't he? He doesn't care about numbers. He cares about effort. And I think he's going to be a fan favourite by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, no, he's a really good teammate. Let's have a look. Fogs, what do you got? 7.5. And for those who are new to this, so for his position, this is a really solid score.
Yeah, second on the ground only to Cripps in pressure acts. That's really important. Yep. And also tied second for tackles inside 50. Behind, tell you what, chat, we'll have a competition. Who had the most tackles inside 50? It'll blag your head.
Who had the most tackles inside 50? All right, we'll give him a minute as I bring up Fogarty's score, 7.5. Dave Cunningham is next. So have a think about it. But we'll talk about Dave Cunningham in the meantime. Cunners. Thought he started a little slow and then got into the game in that second half.
Cunners gets a bit of a hard graft, I think, because of everyone is still in the mindset of Cunners' X factor. Right. But I'm being turned on by the fact that Cunners has got substance, and you can see the X factor, but the substance is there. And his intelligent running shouldn't be understated. Him and Martin are making Curnow's life easier because they are making real dangerous runs and then doubling back, which creates space. Very good with his ball use. And there's a new side to Cunners, which is new. It's his tackles inside 50 and his tackles around the ground. Again, rated another game of we're rated elite in his defensive numbers, which isn't something you think of Cunners.
No.
And he has bought into it. And there was a wonderful moment where he crunches Howe. When Howe was playing down back, he crunches him as Howe sidesteps and he comes from nowhere and just nails him. And that's a new side to Mr. Cunners, and he's fast becoming... I've fallen in love with him again.
All right. Cunners, 6.5. We love a 6.5 across the board. So
to answer your question, chat, it's Cripps.
Cripps had the most tackles inside 50?
3.
Wow.
And tell you what, 2 of them tackles, if you go back and watch them, they're ridiculous. He has targeted players. Cripps, he tackles Maynard back pocket, and Cripps comes from centre half forward to make the tackle. He beelined for him. Cripps was like, "You're mine," and it turns me on. Give me more, Cripps.
Oh no, we did Cripps. I forgot to talk about a particular moment with Cripps. The bump on Maynard, bro. Oh. He stayed down for I'm not kidding, 27 seconds. He couldn't.
I like the one he did on Quaynor. Do you remember that?
Quaynor. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh. Mate, it was
you
so
better
good.
Stay down, Isaac. You stay down, mate.
All right. We did Cunners. Cottrell is next. These types, these Cunningham, the Cottrell, Fogarty, these guys that are coming in and playing a role, they're standing out a lot more than they ever have. And I'm here for it. But it's good to be talking about them like this,
Cottrell's a guy that's just really honest, and before this was the guy that we were talking up because he did his job, and now we've got 7 Cottrells. Everyone's doing their job.
Yep.
And No job's too hard for Cottrell. He had a tough job. People talk about Nicky D, and we talked about what was going to happen with Nick Dacos. And 3 players should get 10 out of 10, really. And that's Cottrell, who had to do the run with row, and that's incredibly hard. You're talking 16 Ks. He did that thanklessly. Hewett had to do it as well. And the biggest one is Jack Martin, who was responsible for taking away the give and go. And that's what we said last week in the preview. You can't tag Nick Dacos. Impossible. And again, it's been proved he was the leading disposal getter on the ground. What you can do is negate his skill set, and that is that give and go. And Jack Martin and Cottrell, 2 players that literally stopped that and made Nick Dacos kick long, and that's not his skill. He needs that short hit up. So both of them probably killed everything that Collingwood could do, and Matt Cottrell won't get the kudos he deserves for that, but that's an incredibly fucking tough job.
Yep. Well said. Matty Cottrell, 6.5.
Hardcore role players.
Jack Martin is next. I think we might dedicate the channel tonight to Jack Martin, and we'll be called Jack Martin Abroad for the next 2 hours.
I've always had 2 boys. Charlie Curnow has been number 1, and Jack Martin has been probably always a close. I like my guys who get given up on. And
I gave up on Jack. No doubt. I gave up on Jack.
Seeing Jack Martin play football just turns me on. He's just happy. That goal, the second goal he had, it was just Jack Martin at his finest. The fact, if you go back and watch the snap as well, he gave the man on the mark a little wink and then suddenly took off. And I was like, that's the Jack Martin we need, the arrogant bastard. But he's backed it up with also his defensive pressure. And again, he had the hardest job on the ground. Cottrell running with Nick Dacos, you can probably find someone to do it. Having the intelligence to see which of the 2 players, is it going to be Darcy and he's going to play that short ball, or is he going to look for a Howe or a Maynard and play that give and go? Jack Martin was the man who had to do that job. And tell you what, go back and watch his first half. Nick Dacos is shitting himself because he looks to his right and he's got the fluffy hair of Jack Martin in his way all the time. Jack Martin's like, make the handball. Go on, make the handball. I dare you. And that is insanely difficult to do. And Jack Martin, who would have thought he had an engine 2 years ago? This guy working his tits off for his team.
This is something I did not know about him. And he's been at the club for quite a few years now. I did not know that was a hallmark of his game. And maybe this is starting to come to the top because he's been able to play a couple of games in a row and get some continuity, and, touch wood, hopefully just stays healthy, because you get the feeling that in big games, he can really tear a game apart. He can have a 5-minute patch in any given moment where the game turns on its head.
He's got Norm Smith written all over him, hasn't he, Jack Martin?
He does. Yeah, he really does. I did that footage that the club put up of the gut run from the wing all the way, mate. That's what it's all about. That's the type of commitment that, wins the fans over really quickly.
The thing, Petra nails it as well. 8 touches can take a game away. It's 20 points. Yep. 8 touches could be 20 points on the scoreboard for him. Do you know what I mean? That's how good he is. And what I love about Jack Martin is, do you remember a couple of years ago we were talking about, you get 3 goals won and then you get fuck all for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Now he's added that argument people used to have why they preferred Jesus over him, because now he has got a base. He's going to work his tits off defensively for you. So suddenly his goals are now the icing. He's in the team because he work hard. And that is a massive benefit. And he had the week off last week, didn't he, Jack Martin, with the injury? Genuinely, You always are scared when he comes back after a week off. Looked like he'd never left, hasn't it? What a great person. And tell you what, from someone who's had the privilege of spending time with Jack Martin, one of the nicest human beings on the planet, real mature, and it's great to see him getting the respect he deserves from the fans, because he's a super player, superhuman.
8.5. This might be the biggest score I think he's had for us. Yeah.
You'd have to go back to his debut game versus Richmond for a higher score, which was 9.5.
Wow. There you go.
Welcome back, Jack.
Can we talk about Charlie Curnow yet?
Fuck me. Best player in the world. So, sick of it. If you watch my video today, 4 years ago, I sat there with Terry, told you he was going to be the best player in the world and kept saying it. And Mr. Curnow is starting to pay us back. And you know what? This is a very poignant week for Charlie Curnow because he did an interview after the game and they tried to bait him into the Harry Mackay and hear the maturity in his voice. He's not only grown as a footballer, he's grown as a human being, number one, but also his role has totally changed. And the biggest thing you can see, and this is my issue with Jeremy Cameron, when everyone says, oh, Jeremy Cameron's better than Charlie Curnow, is he fuck? Watch Jeremy Cameron's game this week. He had a poor first quarter. He didn't want to know. Didn't want to know about it. Kicked something like 0-5. Charlie Curnow got battered by Darcy Moore in the first quarter. What happened after that? Charlie Curnow kept at him. And the best players in the world know one opportunity is all I need. And when you give me that opportunity, see you later. Charlie Curnow had one opportunity. And after that, Darcy Moore had to hold him, had to drag him, had to cheat to stop him. And Charlie got his rewards. Charlie Curnow, long live the king. My favorite player. Just doing it again.
When I watched the replay, I didn't realize this moment had happened as seriously as it had at the game. And that's early in the game. I think Maynard he tripped over and fell into Charlie's leg. And then when I watched the replay, I saw the knee buckle on the outside. And I'm like, it was like a sliding doors moment. I was like, oh my God, that could have been, we could have been talking about things in a really different way right now. So I don't know if it's the footy gods or whatever it was. But thankfully there was no serious injury there. And yeah, that maturity from him, something else. And what he had, like Darcy Moore, he had him mesmerized. They had no idea what to do. They were holding him and he just kept getting loose and I haven't seen a forward in a long time get in the heads of defenders like what Charlie does. And they just got no clue what to do. They don't know if he's going to fly for the ball, stay down. He's strong, he's athletic, he's mobile. So, and I think also there was a little bit of a narrative around, he doesn't kick goals against the big teams in the big games. Well, we can just shut that one up for forever now, can't we?
Mate, we've done this a long time together. And you know what? It's always been Charlie over Harry for me, unashamedly. And this guy can just do everything. This guy can do everything at the moment. And I thought my favourite moment of him is his fifth goal. The fact he roams off the top of the pack and takes the ground ball and snags it straight away. That is something that few players do. People talk about Charlie one-on-one. Do you know what I mean? But he's the fourth best key forward in the league one-on-one, right? Do you know what I mean? And through the last 2 years, he's only 1.2% behind Harry, who is number one-on-one. People forget Charlie is ridiculously good. Like, you are all privileged that your parents managed to let you be on the planet at the same time this guy is kicking a football. Tell you what, you need to go and kiss your mums and dads. What an honour to be on this planet with greatness. I love this boy. Brilliant player.
Charlie Curnow. Wow. 9.5. Couldn't find a way to give him the 10. And this is why we have the algorithm, because the stats are the stats, mate. The numbers are the numbers.
It was tough. The only thing that killed him this week was that first quarter. Targeted 4 times. Darcy Moore won every one, which brought his ratio to AFL average 33%. Right. But aside from that, I mean, he absolutely destroyed that moment where he brought it in front of Darcy Moore and then just twisted Darcy Moore inside out. And then the fourth quarter, Darcy Moore shits himself because he sees Charlie Chase running into him, and Darcy kicked it straight on the bounds, and that's when you knew Charlie had broken Darcy. He shit himself. Mentally. Love Charlie.
Pitto is next. Mark Pittonet. I felt like he'll be better for the run. I don't picture him as being a guy that just comes in and impacts straight away. He needs a few games of continuity. Not to say he wasn't strong in the contest, but there were just there were just some half moments with him, I felt.
Piternet's a weird one, isn't he? He's a weird one because he looks like he's not moving at times, which is amazing. Like, I have never seen someone, you know when you're an old person, if you're ever driving in the city and you see a bus pull off and you see someone about 65, male or female, and they do that fake run for the bus where they're still walking. That's Pitternet. Pitternet is always missing a bus when he's around the ground. But okay, game. How does it work with TDK? It's not great. But shout out to Pitternet. In that first quarter, Vossi made a change and Pitternet went full forward.
Yeah.
Which was the turning point for Charlie because it gave Murphy and Moore a problem in size. Yeah. And one of them had to stay back, which allowed Charlie Curnow to go one-on-one with a player finally. And after that, he never looked back. So Pitternet does deserve brownie points for doing that, I think.
Fair. Let's have a look. What do you get? 5.5. Okay. TDK is next. Fresh off a contract extension. I didn't feel like he had the impact in the game that he had over the last 3 games. He had some moments where probably could have gobbled up a few of those marks. It just didn't seem to fall his way. It didn't seem to have the impact that he has been having lately.
Yeah, it wasn't his greatest game at all. Did go up against Mason Cox for the majority of his ruck contest, though, and absolutely battered him. So we've got to judge him now in these ratings as the second ruck because Mark Pitternet took the lion's share, took 60 versus 25. But the wonderful thing about Pitternet is his hard work around the ground. Again, working around the ground for the Blues, which is so important. That's what he's there for. How does it look long term? It's going to be an interesting one, but he did enough. He worked just about everywhere around the ground and is the legs for Pitternet.
Yeah. I feel like, 6.5. I feel like a discussion will come about once Harry's back. It'll just rear its head again. Because at times I felt, when Tom was forward and there was some kicks that I'm just looking at him and it's like, fuck, Harry would gobble that one up if he was in the forward line. So how you fit them all in every week, I don't know. That's up to the coaches, but I'm sure we'll chat about it at some point soon. George Hewett was next. Played his 150th. Daddy George, we call him from now on. Isn't he just... I'm such a big fan of his and the way he goes about it.
I mean, easy. He makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The hard yakker, this guy comes to the forum, probably has the most thankless task at Carlton because probably doesn't have the superstar power of Cripps.
Yep.
Probably doesn't have the X factor of Cerra or Walsh, but guy just bashes heads for a living, doesn't he? He's just I like to call him the debt collector. That's all he's doing all day. And you know what? A quiet game. He's one of them guys that when I watch the game, I'm actually always surprised when I look at his output because you don't really notice him in real time because you're so used to him doing it. And then you're like, wow, good game. So again, solid in the clearance, solid in the contest, allowing the boys to do what they do. And shout out to him in the fourth. Dow will come on to him, had a really good fourth quarter. Hewett was literally his babysitter. No one dared go near him. He lays a fantastic bump. Dow cuts inside and he's been chased and he really goes for Degoe and knocks Degoe off balance. So Dow gets the kick away. And that's what the best players do. The best team players will protect their assets. And tell you what, Hewett is the human bodyguard.
Yeah, 7.5. Very good. Sam Docherty. I feel like his last 2 games have gone stupidly under the radar. Well, last week he got the 10, didn't he?
He did.
And I think I felt like when I watched the replay, especially, maybe I didn't notice it as much at the game, but when I watched the replay, like we're talking ball use, meters gained, but like the inspirational moments, on 2 occasions, I remember him going back with the flight of the ball and marking the first one and maybe spilling the second one. And Mate, he played like a man possessed. He was everywhere.
Mate, he's starting to embrace the midfield time, which is, again, shout out to Nick Newman, who is literally allowing now Doc to live with Hewett and Cripps, and they're forming quite the trio, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Man.
Imagine playing a game without Cerra or Walsh and not missing them against the number one side in the comp. Fuck me. Imagine when we have a full fit side. But Doc, just everything he does is special. There's something about him, isn't there? There's some aura. He's like the cheat code. He reminds me a little bit of, at the moment, of Dustin Martin 2017. In when Dustin Martin started to get up and about, it was like everyone lifted 10%. Something with Doc at the moment that he just seems to lift everyone just by that 10% when he's having a moment. So fantastic player and very underrated in the league. No one's talking about his role change in 6 weeks. I can't think of a player in the league who's changed his position and been so dominant.
Yep. I like this comment from Petra because I don't remember Peter Dean too much, but I know that this was his attribute, the way he played. So, Doc, I feel like there's going to be a 9 next to his name. 8.5. Very good. Very good. Jesse Motlop. Young Jesse. Doesn't mind playing the Pies, does he? He's building a nice little record against the Pies, and that's a good attribute to have.
There's something about Jesse, and there's something about always the way they grab their Guernseys, they point to that C monogram, that they get it. They get it. They're you and me out there. They're the fan base out there. They love it. And he's becoming a problem, isn't he, now? We've got some defensive pressure. He's just skirting around. And as soon as that ball hits the deck, you know there's a problem. And how often have we been the victim of a small forward like him? When the defense does the hard work, they spoil it, and then it's on the deck. Jesse's starting to become that problem. And tell you what, we haven't had it since prime bets, have we? Let's be honest. Yeah. And you know what? We've got mini bets here. That's what we should call them, mini bets.
I could talk about Jesse for a while. There were 3 things. Number 1, the glimpse of what he's going to be, because he's not quick like Charlie Cameron or he's got a little bit of Betts quality, but he's got this power to him. And you just feel like in 5 years from now, he's going to be a really powerful, strong player. And he's already got strength now. Secondly, the tackle on Darcy Cameron, Pom. I don't know what your reaction was on the watch along. But I got up out of my seat and mate, it got me going. It got me going. And then thirdly, the Instagram post. He knew. He knew. Jesse knew. And yeah, it was good. I think he's had an interesting season. Started off okay, dipped a little bit, went back, found his form in the VFL, came back, and it's like, okay, he's fully focused again. So I like what he's been able to do in this season.
He's taking his chance, hasn't he? I mean, him and Fog both got their opportunity about the same time due to injury. And who would have thought Fog and Motlop now are probably 1 and 2 in the small forward stakes. Owies and Durden now are fighting for that spot, which was probably flipped this time last year. So Motlop, what a player. What a player. There's energy, isn't he? He's got energy, which is so important.
That's the thing. Adam Cerra is next. So I think just as we went live, we got the update on Cerra. It is a low-grade hamstring strain, and he will be sidelined for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So really strange because Walsh did the same thing last week. Cerra does it this week. Whatever. It is what it is. Someone else is going to have to step up and take their opportunity. So not going to cry about it, but let's talk about his first half, mate. He's another one that has a reputation of playing well against Collingwood.
Mate, injuries. Injuries. We've got to give the AFL a chance.
Yeah.
Way we're playing after. But Chesney, what can you say? I mean, let's just be honest about Adam Cerra. If you're playing only a pocket of the game, so only a portion of the game, and you're still ranked very good, borderline elite for categories from playing a quarter and a bit, there's something wrong with you. I mean, you've had a pretty good game, and he was playing one of the best sides in the comp. So imagine if he had 4 quarters. 4 quarters, he could have probably produced a 10.
He's just so clean. He was so clean in traffic. There was no fumbling from him. He was, he'd be a bit frustrated, but he'll go back to his rehab. Him and Walshy in the rehab group together, and they are going to be 2 very important additions for us in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And fingers crossed that they can get as healthy as possible.
Mate, imagine them ins first week of finals.
Let's just get there first.
No, Terry. It's there. First week of finals, Walsh and Cerra back. Fucking thank you very much for the 8-goal fucking elimination final win.
Yeah. Alex Cincotta is next. Alex Cincotta. I said this last week. His body composition, what he's been able to do in, since March, and the way his body looks right now is really, really impressive, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. And I probably did go unnoticed until the last few weeks, but the way his body looks right now, mate, he must be doing absolutely everything right all of the time, it seems. Got rewarded with a goal as well. Loves tugging on the jumper too. Just all about him. Pom Cotter.
Wonderful thing about Cincotta is he said we've had moments in our careers, Terry, haven't we, covering these players?
Yeah.
Who they say a lot of stuff and it's hard to back it up. You sometimes think they've just paid me lip service. When he first joined, he said he can't wait to go to war with these boys. Go to war with these boys. Yeah. And I tell you what, when he plays, he's on the battlefield, isn't he? He's in war mode. He's ready to kill someone for this football club. You can see he is in that fight mode. And I tell you what, back to the old role, the boring role for old Pom Cotter this week. He had to go back to being a bit more of a thug. And personally, I prefer thug Pom Cotter. I don't like classy Pom Cotter. I like arsehole. Yeah. Arsehole Cotter.
All right. Cincotta, what do you get? 6.5. That's exactly where you want him to be for his position. Matt Owies. I think he might be one of my favorites now. Just the ultimate professional.
It's the way he eyeballs. Eyeballs when he kicks the goal.
Yeah. It's a great photo. Plays the game in the right way. Prepares himself so well. Also, he was the very first player interview that we had on this channel. And basketball background. I'm just a big fan of him. He's always improved every year by 2%. Every year. He's one of the few that you can say every year he's gotten a little bit better.
There's something about him, isn't there? There is something about, like, you kind of, the Pom in me roots for the underdog. It's a very Pom trait. You like the feel-good story, the rags to riches, and he had the rags to riches, didn't he? Like, 1 minute you're playing college b-ball, and then the next minute you're playing in front of 90,000 at the G against Collingwood. Do you know what I mean? It's a weird turn of events, and when he's out there, he's leaving it all. He's leaving it all out there as well. You can see it, and that tugging the jumper and screaming in the face of a Collingwood player, that we'd all be doing it, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. We'd all be doing it, and he did it for us, and there's something beautiful about him, and what an energy. What a vibe.
Yeah. What a vibe. Great call. He got a 7. Going to give this guy some love. Paddy Dow. Paddy Dow came on. I think his first possession was an errant one, turned over with the handball. But that fourth quarter, I thought he gave us a bit of something in that fourth. Really helped us out.
Tell you what, go back, where were we? 20 weeks into the season? 20 weeks ago, if I told you first quarter, we'd be missing no Walsh, 50% Cripper. And then I also told you Cerra would go down and Paddy Dow's the man to fix it. You would have been like, oh, thanks for the 40-point loss. Tell you what, give this guy some fucking respect.
Yeah.
Guess 30 meters per possession gained. That is the most in the AFL this week. That is, so when people give you this stat, because there is so many stat wafflers on social media, you only had 50%. Okay, we'll learn what disposal efficiency is firstly. This guy, against a team with one of the most hard presses, won us the game in the fourth, because all of them possessions he had, 9 in the fourth, were distance to get over their first wave, giving our forwards a chance to create a stoppage, slow the game down, and get it back on our terms. Paddy Dow, if you're watching this, you filthy, filthy young man. Filthy young man. All year, been battered and bruised in the VFL, working on your craft. And I tell you what, you got your opportunity. And you know what? Wouldn't it be poetic? We have no Weitering. I mean, we have no Walsh and we have no Cerra. Wouldn't it be poetic? The guy that gets us to the finals is the forgotten man, Paddy Dow, in the last 4 weeks of the season. He will run rings around St Kilda. Enjoy the 8-goal win with Dow and Cerra. Dow being the new Cerra next week.
Yeah. When I watched him on Friday, I still felt this rushed anxiousness about him. And anyway, we've won 6 in a row, so obviously, fans have now got this happiness back. I think it's so important to make sure that we get around him now to help give him some confidence so he can springboard off that, because if he just keeps playing and we keep getting behind him and, stop telling him online how shit he is and things like that, I think it'll help the situation as well. We get right behind him, and then, hopefully has a really good game. His opportunity literally just opened up with Cerra. Now he's going to miss. And we're now, all of a sudden, we're going to need Paddy Dow. We're going to need him on Sunday.
Mate, the watch-along get half of this mark as well. Half this mark, because he came on and there was some tits in the chat going, oh, Dow's crap. We've lost. Oh, fucking Dow's coming on. Might as well give 4 points to them. And we got a little, we've got Paddy Dow. Started singing that in the chat. And I'll tell you what, we cheered every one of his fucking touches. And I'll tell you what, it was great to see, because I'll tell you what, that was a tough job. You go back and watch his fourth quarter alone. They are playing a very strong press. They bring their halfbacks just behind their midfield, and they're trying to absolutely pressure Carlton. And Dow takes that brave kick on over the top, and it's a job. It's a job he had to do. And I tell you what, that little sidestep he did when he went through that middle and left fucking John DeGoey clutching at straws, he was tackling air.
Mm-hmm. Well done, Paddy.
Love it.
Very
Go
well
for
done.
it, Dow. Bring me a final, baby.
I love to see it for him. All right, let's have a look at the team. Really curious with this one.
You ready?
Wow.
Our first all green. Just ignore Pitternet.
Wow. Apart from Pitternet, yeah.
Just ignore Pitternet. That's what you get for having a French surname. He's always going to let you down.
Wow. That's well, I mean, this aligns. That was clearly the best performance of the year. Yep. Jeez.
Look at that. The baggers are coming. Look at that. That is finals football. Wow.
But you know what? It's off the back of such an even spread. I'm trying to look for it now. I don't think we had, yet again, I don't think we had a player that had 30 or more possessions. Am I right in saying that?
Mate, we haven't had, doing this a long time with Terry, we always have one melt who has decided to take the piss and have fucking all the ball. Since this turnaround, we're getting this one person 26, 27.
Yeah.
Then a plethora in that 18 to 20 range. And
mate,
just call Carlton Vegemite, because we're being spread, baby. You know what I mean? Literally, the little Vegemites.
But this is why when you said the team of the week, and you could have had Newman in there and whoever else. Nah. Let the mainstream media and let everyone else talk about everyone else. Let Collingwood get upset because we said Charlie's the best in the league, and they're getting excited because Nick Dacos is going to win the.
But he is the best in the league, Terry.
He is the best in the league. I feel like we now know which narrative to buy into, and we don't give a shit about what everyone else is talking about. these rankings, and now all of a sudden, Kingy and Waitley want to put Carlton in their top 4 in their power rankings. And I watched the clips on Twitter, and I'm like, mate, it's too late. It's too late. You're all laughing. You all had your pot shots. David Teague had his pot shot. We'll get to him in the bear show. I've got some words about David Teague to come. But yeah, I'm enjoying this even spread.
Mate, I'm so proud of him. And you know what? Fucking St Kilda next week. Charlie Curnow versus Cal Wilkie. I can't wait to see that demolition.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, we were pretty efficient. We did well. Got 6 minutes to go. Those are your player ratings for this evening. Thanks for being here. Stand by. 5 more minutes. The BA show. We're going to have a lot of fun in the BA show. We're going to have a lot of fun in the BA show. See you at 7. Have a good one. Go Blues.
Peace.